Hi, what's up? This is the Active Podcast. Apparently, my last intro wasn't good enough, so we're being a bit more casual today. Um,
Well, you got us off on the wrong
so
topic last week, so that'd be a good start.
yeah, I think I think we'll start better this week. So England game. Who watched it?
Yeah,
How was it?
it was.
What did you think, Ewan?
It was. Well, it was a boring game to be brutally honest. But
Oh
but
my god.
but I think the referee didn't help, and also, I mean, one of the reasons I reckon it was so boring was because of how Iceland set up. I mean, props to them. They set up to go for the draw from.
Nah, I don't care. These are farmers and dentists. If they're playing 4-4-2, I can't care less. We've got Sterling, Sancho, and Kane, and they can't beat Paul, who plays Sunday League in Iceland. Come
Nah,
off.
I don't think his name's Paul, to be honest. It's
Nah,
probably
nah.
like
Okay, Paul. I don't know, something
now
Icelandic.
you're forgetting the sun on the end.
Wagagogo or something.
Oh, Paulson. Yeah,
Exactly.
of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Paul Paulson.
But no, the way they set up was very, very, very defensive. It was like watching a Jose Mourinho masterclass, to be brutally honest.
Yeah.
Back in the old
Late
Chelsea
penalty.
days. But they literally put 11 players pretty much behind Sterling and Kane. It was ridiculous. There was no pressing, so because our back four like to pass it around to drag out those strikers, so it enables room in for the midfielders to pass the ball around. But Iceland were like, nah, we're just gonna sit here and we'll wait, and they did. That's all they did. So all we
To
could
the 90th minute, we waited, yeah.
pretty much, but it was horrendous, and all we could
We have
do.
to be honest. This is scary now because this is our best England team in like 15 years, and we barely beat Iceland. And this was like a revenge game because they they beat us last time.
I mean, they didn't
Yeah.
batter us, but
They didn't
I
batter
mean-
us,
They
but
need
we
to be
lost to
better.
them, which is basically a battering. It's like losing to San Marino.
you say it's our best English team, though. I mean, there's a lot of players in this English squad. I mean, especially in the Iceland game. I mean, we had Foden that hasn't played a lot of games in the Premier League. I mean, he's played a bit near the end, but through the whole Premier League season, he didn't play loads. You've
Yeah.
got Declan Rice that's still very young. Who else was on the pitch? I mean,
But
Jadon
Declan Rice has
Sancho.
played quite a bit. I mean, look at the thing is the attack alone is good enough. They're all Premier League giants. Harry Kane, Jadon Sancho, and Raheem Sterling should not have a
I
problem
mean,
against
Sancho's not a
Iceland's
Premier League
back four.
giant.
He should be. He will be when he
Nah,
comes here.
he's not coming to the Man U.
Okay, or Champions League giants then. Jadon Sancho is still up
Yeah.
there. So is
Yeah,
Sterling.
okay.
So is Kane. And they can't score against these dons. And we have, Euros next year? Like, imagine if that was a Euros game.
I do think
Southgate, we'd have his head.
Nah,
straight
but
away.
I do think we lost a lot of creativity in midfield. There was nothing. We couldn't dribble past anyone. I mean, Sancho. I mean, there's a lot of good things to say about him, but he had that left back, and pretty much 9 times out of 10 he was going to get past him, and I think he tried it about 3 times in the whole game. Other than that, he passed it back to Walker.
That's what I mean. That's tactics, isn't it, though? Because we know he's got it in his locker, and something's telling him not to do it. It's probably Southgate, because he does it at Dortmund, doesn't the Champions League. So why isn't he doing it for England?
Yeah.
There's something about it, and
So-
I don't know.
But I mean, the one thing that was looking to break the Iceland defence was our crosses into the box, which
Juicy.
but it did surprise me. We didn't bring on Trent earlier on, someone that can really cross the ball in.
He could
I
have
mean-
taken advantage of that situation for sure.
They played him as a number 10, right? He wasn't playing in right back, was he?
What?
Did he play-
Arnold? No, he played at right back. He came on because of
For when Walker got sent off.
yeah,
Oh,
Walker got sent
okay.
off.
Didn't he?
But I have
okay.
to
thought they played him
admit
in centre mid.
that sending off was. I personally don't think that was a red. Or
Well, it
second
was 2 yellow cards. It was a yellow card at least because he came in pretty rash. But I can
I
understand
suppose.
why they've given him a yellow. I
Um,
didn't see the first yellow though.
but yeah, the biggest bit was the whole one we should never that our penalty. I don't think was a penalty. His arms were okay. They were slightly raised, but they were
So
tucked
they were
into
in
his
it.
body.
Yeah.
And then we should have had a goal at the start of the game with Harry Kane that wasn't offside.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of controversy. I mean, he almost could have drew the game as well because of the
the second penalty. Oh my god! When I saw that, the only reason why the Don missed is because Ward-Prowse scuffed the penalty. I saw a picture of Ward-Prowse.
Oh, did he?
First of all, First of all, what was Ward-Prowse doing on the pitch? Why is Ward-Prowse there? And second of all, who's letting him in there to do that late on in the game? He scuffed the penalty spot, so he missed. That's why he skied it.
If we're playing Ward-Prowse, we need to get Kieran Trippier off the pitch. Because Trippier's demanding set pieces when Ward-Prowse should be taking them.
And get Saka in there, because there's no way Ward-Prowse gets in over Saka. There's just no way. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
I mean, Saka had a great game for the under-21s.
Saka, Nelson, and Nketiah scoring. Nketiah scoring a perfect hat-trick. That's my club. Yeah? Hand. All made. Just watch. Few years, you see them everywhere.
That was a very interesting England game.
Honestly, the under-21s was more interesting than that game.
Yeah, it was a good game.
Easy.
It was really good.
Max Aarons was. I didn't realise how good he actually was.
He's a very good player. He was kind of limited by being at Norwich last season. It's not a very good defence to be part of. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see him move at some point.
Yeah, him and Jamal Lewis, because Bayern wanted Max Aarons.
Jamal Lewis looks very likely to leave. He's actually looking like he's going to move to Newcastle. So that's a good one for him.
But yeah, on the talks of big or transfers, there's a pretty big transfer that's happened this week.
Finally,
he was just so eager to get into this. Yeah, it was a long time.
I mean, I was streaming when this got announced.
Yes.
I was streaming with Sam.
Cheeky plug to their stream right there.
But yeah, I was streaming. I was streaming some games on there, and it was announced, and immediately straight after my game, I was reacting to that
live reaction
to it. It's been so long. I mean, the talks. I think it was something like 72 days or something stupid like that. It's taken. Well, I say stupid. In comparison to our other signings, it's stupid.
It's pretty big. Let's talk about the whole rumor thing, because it was weeks in the making. We all knew there's going to be big bucks, and nobody knew where Kai Havertz was going to go until Chelsea decided they were going to go for him. It's like 89 million plus. Or was that with installments altogether?
What we're seeing, I think, is an initial fee of 71 million, plus 18 million in installments and bonuses.
Yeah,
which takes it up to 89 million.
Is that transfer record? That must be the transfer record.
It's breaking the previous record holder, which was Kepa.
No, I don't think it did. I don't think it did. You know,
it must be.
It must have been.
Who else can it be?
Kepa was 70 million.
Yeah,
and
not the 89. Full fee. Not the full fee. Kepa's full fee is a lot higher than that.
Really?
Well, I'm not sure he's going to be making up those bonuses, to be perfectly honest.
No.
Well, I suppose there is that. But
his appearance fees are going to go down. It was 71.6 for Kepa altogether.
But that was his release clause, so there wouldn't have been any bonuses anyway, right?
Probably not.
A release
you wouldn't put bonus on a release clause.
I saw. I mean, I could be wrong, and the source could be wrong as well. But I saw that Chelsea tried to go in for, or wanted to go in for him cheaper than Kepa, purely to take off that record signing off his shoulders.
Yeah, so it makes sense.
Because of how badly it went for Kepa, they didn't want to do it to Kai Havertz.
At least your record signing will be. Well, at least your record signing is more likely to be a success now than Kepa.
Yeah, I'd take it off Kepa, to be honest.
But it is a lot of pressure.
It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing knowing your record signing was only going to play for you for like 2 seasons, and his second season was awful. So I think, it was probably good they took it off of him.
Well, on the subject of Kepa anyway, Chelsea have been linked with another replacement, and this one is a Frenchman called Edouard Mendy from Stade Rennes. And he's gone under the radar. I don't think any of us had really heard of him until he started being linked to Chelsea. But he's had a really impressive couple of seasons.
Yeah, I mean...
But Rennes are asking for a lot of money.
Yeah, they're asking for 30 mil. I think Chelsea I think the initial price they went in for was 15, maybe even 20 mil. Personally, I don't see Chelsea paying 30 mil for him. They'll probably try and push that down to 25.
And I could see Rennes taking that. They're not the richest of clubs.
Do you guys just
But
have
it's-
unlimited money? Like, what you've spent nearly 200 million already. So, like, what is happening?
Well, you've still got the we sold obviously Hazard that was announced that the whole fee was 160 mil
Yeah,
oh,
in total.
yes, I forgot about
in
that.
total.
Actually.
Plus Morata was sold this. I'm pretty sure Morata was sold this transfer because he was on loan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
that's
got
like
that
55 mil. Big
So,
amount of money.
So I think the total of for this year is how much we're spending
Probably breaking even.
for Havertz, Timo Werner, and Ziyech is around 150 mil
Wow.
or 100. Yeah, is that right?
It's about that.
Sounds about right.
So about that,
170
which
million.
doesn't even that's not even covering the Hazard money that we've got in.
You got like
Plus-
wage budget as well because he probably had a huge wage.
Yeah, so we could get him in. We got Thiago Silva on a free.
Malang Sarr
Yeah.
as well, yeah.
Malang Sarr on a free. Chilwell, we've obviously spent 50 mil, which is essentially the Morata money.
Yeah.
Plus, we haven't spent in the season, so it kind of works out hereabouts. Plus, the FFP rules have been relaxed a bit more due to the pandemic.
And
Yeah.
you're still probably making a profit of all of that just with those two sales. You're probably not too far off FFP, so I think you'll be okay.
Yeah. Plus, Bakayoko is looking to potentially go to
AC Milan,
AC.
yeah.
Oh, and Batshuayi could be going to like a low tier Prem side as well, like Albion and Leeds are
Yeah,
interested.
you've got plenty of assets to sell
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
plenty of money still to bring in. So I think financially you'll be fine. But for fear of lingering on Chelsea for too long, I say we move on now to the other big transfer this week, which was Donny van der Beek.
Oh, that's not the other big
Man
transfer.
United.
How dare you? Fine, we'll talk about him
Yes, it
first as
is.
well. All right, okay.
So
That was
There's
a
been a lot of
weird
questions
transfer. I'm
I've
really
seen
sorry.
about this.
I'm so confused because that came out of nowhere, right? Like it was only like 2-3 days of
Yeah, it did.
links, and then he was
Yeah.
signed.
I mean,
I didn't
to
see
be
it
honest, I
coming.
don't really know much about him.
Well, he was part of
Yeah.
that Ajax side. He was like the creative genius that helped them alongside Ziyech to get to the Champions League semi-final, almost the final until they were robbed by that bold fraud, Lucas Moura, and then yeah, who didn't even start in the final. But that whole squad is just being picked apart. When you look at like Frankie De Jong,
yeah,
De
it's
Ligt,
almost
Ziyech,
gone
the
now,
whole
I think.
team is almost gone. I think like Tadic, Daley Blind are the only ones I can think of, and Onana, who's probably
And
leaving.
Onana, yeah.
He wants to go there,
Tagliafico
doesn't
as
he?
well. But yeah, Tagliafico and Onana could both leave.
Yeah,
Daley Blind is only not going to leave because he's old,
Yeah.
essentially, and who's going to want Daley Blind?
but that's what they do, don't
But
they?
that's
Like,
Man U,
Ajax
yeah.
do that. They spent probably less than 50 mil for that entire squad, and they're gonna sell them for like 250,
course.
300 now, which is insane.
That's how they do things. But anyway, Donny van der Beek, it's an interesting one because he's more of an advanced midfielder. He's certainly not a defensive midfielder. He can really get between both boxes, but his main strengths are getting in the box and scoring goals and creating chances. So the question to be asked when you look at that is, what is the starting midfield for Man United here? Because if you look at it on paper, you'd think, well, they spent so much money on Pogba and Bruno Fernandes and Donny van der Beek. You'd say that would be the obvious starting midfield, but it's so unbalanced. Where's the defensive work in that midfield?
Yeah, it's not great.
It's kind of scary
But-
because we already know their defense isn't that good. So none of those three players are tracking back. We all know for a fact Pogba is not coming back with any sort of urgency because he doesn't run at all. Bruno Fernandes maybe, but he if he's going back, he's not going to be helping the attack very much.
Well, that's the problem. We saw that with the what game was it? It might have even been the Chelsea game.
They always get caught out, don't they? Like if you've got pacey
Yeah, well,
strikers.
I think. But in the Chelsea game, the last game that we played, you notice that because obviously Chelsea, we play a very passing game and we try and keep possession. We pinned Man United back, and
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes just couldn't do anything attacking wise because he was pinned that far back that there was just no outball for him really. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have said they should have signed Conte over Van der Beek. Really, Conte is the player they need more. Honestly, if they're
Yeah.
lining up in a 4-3-3, you'd have like Conte and then Pogba slightly further up and Bruno Fernandes even further up. But it doesn't. It helps the team be more balanced, and now they don't have that. which is worrying to
Yeah.
think of. Not for me, because I can't wait to slap them at Old Trafford, but for them, like, it's peak. Really sad.
They've got even less of defensive presence in midfield than
They've
Arsenal.
just got a fridge. Yeah, yeah. We actually might have a better defensive presence now. Like, if we get Thomas Partey, it's game over. Like, I'm sorry, we're winning. I hate to say it, but we will win the league. Yeah. So, just say, yeah.
Of course, of
Arteta
course.
at the helm.
But yeah, I think this season might be the make or break season for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because this is the season where he's now kind of built the squad. I think that he wanted to. He spent a lot of money on some big players, and now it's about, can he make the squad perform? Yeah, can he deliver what is expected of this squad, and can he also manage, particularly that midfield? Can he manage it in a way that allows it to be balanced? You know, he's going to have to make use of Fred and McTominay and Matic, even though they're not as glamorous as Pogba and Bruno and Van der Beek. Can he make it work, essentially?
I mean, will we see another a Chelsea type season, but for Man United, where they score loads of goals, but they're conceding that much that it hinders the position? The
problem with United as well is they have too many players now. They have too many like these players that they're not going to play, that are just there for the sake of it, compared to someone like Chelsea, because even Arsenal have this problem. Whereas Chelsea's selling those players, they have the ability to sell them. United have got players like Fred, Dalot, Pereira that are not going to leave. No one's going to sign them, and they're paying their wages, and they're just sitting on the bench. They probably have over 30 players in their squad, and they can't get rid of them. And they have literally signed almost a whole new midfield over the last 2 transfer windows. So I don't really see what their plan is now. Scary.
There's a lot of dead wood that they're going to have to get rid of. Now, a club that doesn't have any dead wood, and to be honest, I wish we did have a bit of dead wood. We have no depth at all, but now we've managed to sign someone, Fabio Silva, into Wolverhampton Wanderers for 35 mil. The Football Manager
I'm
legend
gonna miss fighting for this
self.
done on Football Manager Online. Like, when we had those massive transfer embargoes trying to sign him, it was the best.
Oh.
It was sick.
But I'm really excited about this. It's a position that we needed. We needed someone to back up Raul Jimenez, and I think there's no better person to back him up than a really exciting prospect who's going to be happy to sit on the bench for now, and eventually will be able to come in and take Raul Jimenez's place once he ages out.
Yeah,
and
I mean, it's
a big statement of intent as well for us.
It's the most important position that Wolves need to get, other than you need a right wing back. But striker, you literally have Raul Jimenez. That is it.
Yeah. And there is the worry, like, you looked at what happened with Patrick Cutrone, it didn't work out for him. He was gone within 6 months.
Did you sell him?
But I think there's definitely different. Well, it's a loan with an obligation to buy, so he's out the door.
Wow.
But I think the situation here is different, because we spent a lot more money on Fabio Silva than we did on Cutrone. We also brought in Cutrone when he was about 4 years older than Fabio Silva is now. So Fabio Silva's got a lot more time.
How old is he?
He's going to have a lot more time. He's 18.
Oh, okay.
So whereas Cutrone was 22. So he's got a lot more time, and the board certainly aren't going to just get rid of him after 6 months after such a big investment. He's a club record signing.
And I mean, I think what Man United did with Greenwood is what you need to do with
just bring him in.
With Fabio Silva, is just slowly bring him in. Don't give him. I mean, Chelsea did it completely incorrectly with Hudson-Odoi. Was playing him for so many games, build up this massive hype over this player,
huge.
and then so for Fabio Silva to come in, play a couple of lower teams.
Then you gave him a 100k a week contract.
45 minutes.
What?
If Raul Jimenez is tired, you can play him. Play him for cup games, stuff like that. Just get his minutes up. See what he can do, and then you've got an exciting.
I think he's just an out and out number 9. He's quite tall. His main attributes are
where else
that
can he play
finishing
other than
ability and that,
striker?
That instinct to be in the right place at the right time. So
is he similar to Raul Jimenez the way he plays then?
Well, I think he's less physical than Raul Jimenez, which isn't saying a lot, to be fair. There's not many people who can be as physical as Raul Jimenez, but yeah, we are. But he's only 18, as I said. He's got a lot of time to really grow into. More
You're
of
a physical
player.
team.
And he is 6 foot tall, so he's not like, just going to get battered about by the Premier League defences. He can, hold his own, and he does have that kind of clinical finishing ability that we need, because we've been guilty of wasting chances at times.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of physical strength, you've got someone in your club that at 18 was not skinny, but was more slim as Adama Traore, because he wasn't as huge as he was.
But now he is an absolute monster.
So it just goes to show that you can.
Yeah.
So there's
I remember seeing
physical,
Traore
physically
like back in Barcelona days. The guy was slim, like he was skinny.
In the next couple of
and
years,
the way he's
and that's the
changed
couple
now
of
is
years that really
insane.
matter
So
now.
I can see it happening.
Getting your minutes in, building up your strength, building up the style of play that you want to play.
That's
just nailing it.
Thing. He's at that age. No, we aren't loaning him out. Yeah.
Send him on loan to Bayern for a season, and they come like a tank.
But yeah, so next up,
no, but
let's
move Bayern
swiftly
They're
on
huge.
to Arsenal, who've really concluded some big business this week. Got a couple of major signings. Well, I say major. One of them was here last season.
We finally. It's so weird. Yeah, so we have finalized the signing of Gabriel Magalhaes from where is he? Lille, our feeder club, and we also. It was a weird announcement. So the way they announced it was, I was on my lunch break at work. I sat down. They did a video with David Luiz and Willian on FaceTime, and they were like, "Oh, so there's a new guy," and then they just called him up, and he answered the phone. And they're like, "Oh, hi," and he's in an Arsenal shirt. So clearly our budget is lacking, and then we also they announced Ceballos using emojis.
That's going to make
Twitter.
up the crucial
So
pounds.
that was also
now
pretty
you
low
haven't
budget.
now
So
that you haven't
hoping
spent
all
that
budget
money on
has either
a
gone
couple
to
of big
Aubameyang's
expensive
or just
announcement
for party
videos,
money, because,
you'll be able to sign
we
Aubameyang
need
down to
that.
that new contract.
That
Is he
is
still
that's
not
it.
signed?
No.
We can go out and buy party.
But
Let's go.
Nope.
And I'm starting to get not worried, just
or
frustrated,
some-
because I
it
know
doesn't-
he's going
it
to
just doesn't
sign,
sound right,
but
because
it just
in
takes so long
Aubameyang's
to announce.
perspective,
Like,
I
why?
mean, I don't know.
It's
I don't think he is
September.
linked to any other team, is he?
No, not the way.
So if he's not linked, then he's potentially not in talking to another club for contracts wise. So what, is he just going to retire?
No, not right now. But like, he can't yet anyway. But it makes you think. It makes you think though. That's why fans are still hopeful, because the fact he isn't talking to any other clubs is probably because he's already signed.
The age
Because
probably
surely Barcelona,
big clubs probably.
or
But I mean,
any other big
suppose
club worth money,
Barcelona.
PSG would probably come in for him at some point, and they haven't spoken to him. Probably means he said something. Nah, PSG would probably.
Yeah,
If PSG didn't have.
I mean, don't get me
Icardi,
wrong,
they
he's still a
probably
very,
would've
very
signed him, I
good
think.
striker, but
'Cause
how long can he hold
he's
on
French.
to?
Yes, he's
how
older,
old
but
is he?
it's also
30?
Ligue 1, so he'd tear it up.
Yeah,
he's tearing
so
up the Premier
he
League,
is coming. Well, supposedly coming to the end of his career. I mean, players have been known to go on for longer.
He's
Yeah.
31 now. It just turned 31.
So it's kind of just getting the contracts right, like Chelsea did with Willian. We didn't want him for too long because of his age.
Ronaldo and Zlatan
It
still
is
going.
just getting the fine details, and in fact, from Arsenal's perspective, the fact that he's not talking to anyone else, they really can concentrate
Yeah, it
and
makes
work
sense.
out the perfect contract for him.
Yeah, he's got no suitors right now. He's not in demand, so they're his only option at the moment. So
We as Arsenal fans have also been getting trolled left, right, and centre by Arsenal. because there was I said in the last episode there was apparently leaked footage of what looked like an announcement video outside the Emirates and inside over like the past 3 weeks, and it turns out it was just some music video that had nothing to do with Arsenal. It was just being
What a
filmed,
great club.
and it turns out it had nothing to do with Aubameyang. So now we don't even know what's the truth anymore. We'll never know if he's going to sign at this point. I feel like I've lost all hope. It's still a great club. We've made two. I like the look of Gabriel and Saliba in the back four. Obviously, they're not going to play very much together in the Premier League.
Tierney,
Maybe in a cup game we'll see them together.
Gabriel.
But now we basically
Cedric's
signed an entire new back four in the space
It's
of
a good young defence.
2 transfer windows, which is really, really good. Tierney, Cedric is kind of like there. Saliba, it looks really good because we've been begging for that for so long as well. Like for years we've begged for it. Some new centre backs.
You want a party?
A decent left
the
back
party
because
party.
Kolasinac wasn't
I
hacking
want a
it.
party.
So now we just want party.
Okay,
Party
so
is all I want. Arwaz
anyway,
honestly.
I
want a
club
party.
that's
I
not
want a
having
party
right now
party.
is
You.
West Ham
That's
United.
what I want.
And I know I'm the king of segues, and the reason for that is that they have let go a very promising
Lovely
youngster
segue.
in Grady Diangana. He's moved to West Bromwich Albion, where he was on loan last season for 16 million, and it's fair to say the players and the fans are not happy. You don't often see players speaking out against their club's transfer policy, but the other day on Twitter, Mark Noble, the club captain, of course, West Ham legend, tweeted that he was gutted and angry that Grady Diangana had been allowed to go because he was probably the club's best prospect. And that, from the perspective of the owners and the management, that's really not what you want to see.
No, I mean, it's West Ham that are in quite a bad financial difficulty, aren't they? So
No, really
so
bad.
I think that's why we're holding out on Rice.
Yeah, they are. They're even trying to get rid of Felipe Anderson, so I can understand why they offered him to
He
Arsenal.
was really good last season.
I mean, the thing is with Diangana is he was absolutely quality in the Championship. The guy had 14 goal contributions. They were like 10 goal or 4 goals, 10 assists, something like that. He had 7.
He had
8
some
goals,
injury
7
problems,
assists
so
in
he
the
didn't
last-
really play
in the
anywhere near the
Championship
amount of minutes that he
last
could have.
in
So,
like 16,
that could have been a lot
16
higher.
17 appearances. Like that is insane numbers to get.
Yeah. I mean, are they playing?
Go on.
But are they playing the money game of if they sell a couple of players for low amounts?
I don't know.
They can turn back around to Chelsea and go, look, we're not in financial difficulty anymore. We've sold players. You can now pay a big fee for Declan. So because.
Well, it has for years.
It's kind of getting the money in the right place because if they don't sell anyone,
West Ham have
But the
always
thing
been
is,
that
like,
kind of
the
club.
team
Their
isn't good.
squad
Like,
is
their players just aren't playing.
Why aren't they doing well?
Haller doesn't
Anderson,
score enough goals.
Sebastian Haller, all these players who just seem like quality players, and they're just not performing. But, I mean, David Moyes as manager doesn't really help. But I mean, it's just you got to look at the board at the end of the day, and you have to say, well, something's going wrong here at the top of the club. But yes, yeah, quick disconnect from Jacob there. A couple of technical difficulties, but we are back.
So,
Yeah.
Something is going wrong. I am. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Yeah, I've returned. So we're talking about West Ham, right? So the issues they're having.
Yeah, horrible.
They haven't scored enough goals. Honestly, is a huge problem because defensively, they've been okay. Declan Rice is obviously by far one of the best defensive players on that team, but like Felipe Anderson scored, I think like 1 or 2 goals this season. Haller scored about 2 or 3. Yeah, I mean compared to last season, like his first season in the Prem, he was insane. Arsenal wanted him really badly. A lot of clubs wanted to sign him, and then this season, I don't know what it is that has ruined him, but he has been awful. I don't know, maybe he's not gelling with Haller or what, but it's really bad.
Yeah,
They
and I mean, letting go of Diangana isn't going to help that attacking situation, is it?
Not at all. He could have been really good in the Prem. I would have liked to see Diangana
in terms of the morale situation for that. I mean, they've lost a young prospect that could be beneficial for them attacking wise. They've also now got this whole not dispute, but players aren't happy with the decision that they've made. That's not going to help them in coming in games, not having faith in your own team.
It really feels like a Football Manager save when you sell a star player and they all come to you in the dressing room.
Yeah.
They have that. We feel like you've made a mistake here. That's exactly what it feels like, honestly. And it's a real shame to see that happen to West Ham, because I could see them having to really fight to stay in the Premier League next season now.
Yeah, and that would be disastrous for them if they got relegated. The amount of money they've spent. And
yeah. How much did they spend for Haller? It was like 45
Haller
mil?
was about 45 mil, and it was about 35 for Felipe Anderson.
Oh my God.
And the wages they're paying as well are huge.
Yeah.
And at some point they have to. At some point, they have to look at their recruitment policy and think something isn't going right here. Is it the manager? Is it, the board at the top?
I wonder how much they also.
There's going to have to be some sort of investigation happening at some point, I think.
They've even offered Felipe Anderson. Like I said before, they offered him to Arsenal on a loan deal. Like, they've offered one of their best players to a direct rival on loan for like £6 million loan fee. Just to get him in decent form, which was weird to see.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I'd take him now, honestly. I don't really want another winger.
No, I don't think you need him. Right.
Yeah, I wonder how much they spent on the to move to that stadium as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Well, did they have to pay much? Because, I mean, it was already built for the Olympics.
I don't know what the,
did they have to pay
deal was it.
Did they buy it?
I thought they'd have to pay for it, or they're renting it.
Yeah, even then, it's probably still quite a lot, though, isn't it?
Still quite a bit of money for a club.
And no fans as well. They're not getting much income, which is really bad.
So it's not a good situation for them.
Yeah. Anyway, right. We've pretty much covered all the main bits of business from the past week.
I do want to just bring one thing up before if we're gonna go off football, because I have this. I was checking some stuff earlier, right? No player so far from the Championship has stayed in the Premier League. That's been relegated last season. So Cantwell, Jamal Lewis, Max Aarons, Troy Deeney, none of those players have stayed up, and I can't figure out why. But I wanted to find out from you guys, who do you honestly think should stay in the Premier League from those last three teams that are relegated?
Well, there's so much quality in some of those teams. You look at the the names you mentioned. Surely the likes of Todd Cantwell and Jamal Lewis and Max Aarons can find a Premier League club that wants them. And I mean, they can't be too expensive, because these clubs are down in the Championship. The financial situation isn't going to be great. But there is a couple of interesting updates that have come through actually while we've been recording this podcast on pretty much this exact situation you just brought up, Jacob. So, firstly, another relegated player, Callum Wilson, is pretty much all set on a move to Newcastle for 20 million. So that's really good for them, because they've obviously had striker problems last season. He's a proven Premier League quality striker, and that is a good move for him. Another Newcastle potential signing looks like Jamal Lewis for just under 15 million. So that'll be a good move for him. Good move.
Wait, where's he linked with? Oh, Newcastle. They want Newcastle want Jamal Lewis as well.
Yeah, so looks like they're splashing out a little bit.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
Of that.
It's like going to the bargain bin, except these bargains are actually really good. It's like finding a North Face coat in a bargain bin. It's sick.
Yeah, but I haven't seen anyone linked to Todd Cantwell, which is weird. I think he'd be another one who'd be good at Newcastle, actually, because they...
Who's this, sorry?
Todd Cantwell.
Oh, right, yeah.
They are lacking creativity at Newcastle. And
He was linked with Liverpool in January, right? And then they never went for him. But he's so good. He's really, really good. I remember seeing that banger he scored against United in the FA Cup, a quarter final, and just seeing that, and his presence in the game is, he needs to be in the Prem now, or
and I
at
think
least somewhere else.
Another one is arguably the best player who was relegated last season was Emiliano Buendia, also at Norwich. Some of the numbers he was putting up were crazy. I mean, the chances created in the dribbles.
He was second behind Kevin De
Yeah.
Bruyne, right? In chances created, I think.
Yeah,
is
it's
that
huge
right? Yeah.
numbers. And he was linked to like some big clubs like Atletico Madrid and
Wow.
some of the top Prem teams as well. And the fact that he hasn't moved yet is really surprising to me. And I haven't even
Where-
seen
where-
any links or anything.
Where did he come from before Norwich? I don't know where he was.
I think they
I don't
signed
know
him
much
from
about
some Argentinian team. I really don't
Great
know.
signing. Great signing.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
he has
it's
to go
definitely
somewhere.
proved to
How
be a
old
great
is he?
signing for them. 23 is
Wow,
is
that
the
is-
age that's coming into my head. So,
Yeah, he's really good. I like the look of him. So
But yeah, just the last little bit to add on to this is talking about people that are coming into the Premier League. One person that didn't make it into the Premier League, Messi.
Messi
He is staying at Barcelona.
hasn't gone to plan for him in the end.
It's a real shame.
Just that, I mean, we won't really have to discuss this anymore afterwards, so might as well just wrap it up. Wrap up the Messi situation here. So he claimed he could leave on a free. Barcelona disagreed, and La Liga backed up Barcelona. And Messi said, in his own words, that he would never even consider taking Barcelona to court because they're the club that he loves. So he decided that he was just gonna leave it and he was gonna stay for another season. But his contract is up next season anyway, so we might still see him leave. It'll just be next season rather than this year.
Yeah, he'll probably go. Oh, he'll probably still go to City. He'll probably go to City and then he'll go to like New York after a couple of years. I could see that happening.
But it's the fact it'll be on a free, won't it?
Yeah, which is insane.
That's mad.
That's the only way it was ever going to happen. Let's be honest, because no one was ever going to pay whatever price Barcelona would have put up for him. It was never
Barcelona
going
are
to happen.
stupid for that. I'm sorry.
No, what were they going to do?
Even if it's
just they've got the wrong
250
president.
mil.
They've got the wrong president. That's it. They were trapped because they are run poorly and they can't get Messi to sign a new contract because he shouldn't, because they're absolutely shambolic at the moment.
Yeah, I think Messi's definitely in the right here.
Yeah, of course. So if he can't go now, he'll go next season.
Oh no, I agree. Messi's in the right, but Barcelona are just stupid, or whoever's running Barcelona.
Bartomeu is definitely leaving next year. There's no way he's getting re-elected.
I don't think he's even standing. I think
really
he's,
he shouldn't. It'd be
He's
embarrassing.
going to try and stand for re-election because, yeah, I mean, it would just be it would just make his legacy even more embarrassing. No reason for him to add a devastating loss in elections to add to his already awful CV at Barcelona. So
it's a real shame. And now even like Griezmann is being offered around. I remember seeing on AFTV, Griezmann was offered to Arsenal, but no one's gonna no one is going to buy him. Nobody wants him because even in this situation like this, in this climate where like strikers are in high demand at the moment, even then they don't want him because his wages are insane. They paid over 100 million for him, which no one is going to pay. It's ridiculous. I can't see anybody actually going for him. So even if they got him on a loan deal, I wouldn't want him on a loan deal. His wages are insane. Get lost.
Well, speaking of wages, just want to briefly think if Messi moves on a free next season.
Oh my god!
What are his wages?
Oh my god! He's already making a mil.
Yeah, he's already on $1 million a week. If he goes on a free, is he going to ask for more?
And we know the Saudi dons can pay it because it's all just going to be Saudi money. So like, it's insane. It's scary to think that amount of money. The taxman's gonna love it if he comes to the UK.
But changing the subject, but still staying on contracts. I'd just like to add in the fact that Lewis Hamilton, Formula One racer, hasn't signed his contract yet.
Oh, for real?
Oh, really?
For his next, so he's in talks with Mercedes. I'm pretty sure they'll not a new contract, but he's talking about extending it.
How does it work in F1? Does it work just like football? Like, do they just sign like new deals per season or per Grand Prix or whatever? How does it work?
Yeah, it's by season. It's very similar. It's you sign for 2 or 3 seasons. The contracts are never as long because the amount that can change in like a couple of seasons is huge, and drivers always want to be able to move if they can.
But I presume that Lewis is just more thinking of the fact that he wants to stay on to beat Schumacher's record.
I mean, where would he go? Like, I can't see like Mercedes clearly have the best car.
He won't move from Mercedes. Mercedes won't get rid of him. And I think Lewis is just more thinking of the fact of, I could potentially try and get more money, or I could stay on the same wages as what I'm on at the minute.
Yeah.
Let's just extend the contract and extend it until I break this record.
Yeah.
And then who knows what he'll do after that.
How far is he off the record?
2 more.
Is he on 6
beat
right
it.
now? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so
then
if he wins this
year, it'll be
year's, he'll be tied with Schumacher.
Wow.
And then he'll probably go for the season after that.
Yeah, and it looks like this season he's going to break Schumacher's record of race wins, which is Schumacher's on 91 and Lewis is on 89. So
Wow.
Yeah, it's
he's 2 away.
the amount of records Lewis is going to break this season is actually ridiculous.
He could have won this one as well if he
many.
didn't have that stop and go penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So let's get on to that anyway.
What a race.
Italy Grand Prix, Monza.
As a new
I don't
F1 fan, right, I have to say, I'm new to this, but the last 2 races I've watched have been like elite. They've been really good, really good to watch.
You've had a pretty decent introduction, in fairness.
Yeah.
Particularly this one is just absolute chaos all the way through, and it all started with a really, really terrible start for Valtteri Bottas.
Yeah, that was. I don't even know what. I can't remember what happened in it.
Well,
he
he was saying that he thought he had a mechanical failure, but it looked like he was just really slow off the line.
and then he thought he had a puncture.
Yeah.
Trying to blame every other factor other than he's just not a good race.
To be fair, I've never seen him complain so much. He tends to be quite
he's not
quiet.
much of a complainer, is he? But he seemed to be deflecting a little bit. But
It's the equivalent of saying you're lagging on FIFA.
Yeah.
I'm lagging.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, he had a dreadful start. 4 places, I think he lost.
Yes.
Wow.
Second to
It's
sixth.
just, and Mercedes are not built to be behind cars.
Yeah, they're built to be out in the lead and just consolidate that with their pure speed. But when they're trailing cars, they find it a bit difficult to overtake, and we saw that a couple of times later on in the race, along with as well as with Bottas.
So what happened with Hamilton?
Norris. Well,
what was he doing? Because he saw both. It told him twice the pits were closed, and he still went in. So what was he?
I suppose
the
he just
point?
didn't see them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't quite get
A
you can't
giant
see
lighting
them.
up X didn't see it.
But then saying that they are travelling at ridiculous speeds, so it's probably flashing, and it was a safety car at the same time. So he might have thought, "Oh, it's a safety car. My team's telling me to box because they came on the radio and told him to box." So at that point, you might as well go and pit. Well, not might as well go and pit, but you're thinking, right, I'm pitting this lap. Let's get in. Get this done really quickly. I mean, their decision making is like a millisecond. If they do a delay by a millisecond, it could cost them seconds in the race.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that much of a margin in Formula One. It's
So why do they close the pit sometimes? Why is it closed?
Well, it's not sometimes really. This is a really unique situation. What happened was we saw Kevin Magnussen have an engine problem, and he had to pull over to retire. And he happened to pull over right in front of the pit exit, and the stewards had to push his car into the pits, and that made it obviously unsafe for anybody to enter the pit lane at that time. So they were told that they couldn't, and Hamilton and also Antonio Giovinazzi did anyway.
Did Giovinazzi
I don't quite get the
penalty as well?
Giovinazzi one. The Hamilton one, I was a bit more like, oh, it's the first car. I suppose it's a little bit, but Giovinazzi, how many cars haven't just pitted?
Yeah, he should have known, and his team.
What
should
are you
have known.
doing?
And I mean, Hamilton's team should have known as well. They should have said, you can't box right now.
Oh yeah, 100%. But the Giovinazzi one was just even worse because you've seen one car pit, no one else has pitted. Surely you've got to be thinking, hold on, something's gone wrong. Plus they get lights come up. It was that one was appalling for Giovinazzi.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Well, a team that wasn't so appalling was McLaren, and Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz had a really good race, and it started off with a really fantastic start for Lando, just so quick off the line and getting some really good overtakes in.
Oh yeah, I mean, statistically, Sainz is the quickest reactor to the lights on the grid, and it was shown.
That's good.
He was lightning off there. And then even Lando, he was up against into turn. I think it was near him in turn 1, and then coming out of turn 2 was alongside him pretty much.
Yeah, so fast.
So it was just those McLarens. I mean, what engines have they got in there at
Got
the minute?
Renault engines, haven't they?
Yeah, and they're going to Mercedes engines. So
That's
it's
quite a scary
going to be
proposition.
Deadly.
interesting.
That's deadly. That's really good.
Yeah, we could. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw McLaren next season, as they continue to progress, really actually become contenders at the level of Red Bull next season.
Start
And I'm really
dominating.
looking forward to that because I love McLaren and I love Lando Norris.
But you've not only got a very good car. You've got a very, very good racer in Daniel Ricciardo going to
Yeah.
McLaren as well.
And it'll be good to see
And-
him in a properly competitive car again. Because when he was in Red Bull, he was one of the most impressive drivers on the grid. And to see him back in
I think-
a car that can win races, hopefully, will be
I
really
think
exciting.
it goes to show as well the fact that, I mean, Ricciardo was finishing podiums, doing really well in a Red Bull, and then you drop to Pierre Gasly and Alexander Albon in they go into the Red Bull and they don't do as
Yeah.
well. So it really does go to show how good of a racer Ricciardo actually is.
Yeah, he was able to keep up with Max Verstappen, which is not a light achievement at all. It's a really impressive thing
It's
to do.
not an easy task to do.
Yeah. Well, Verstappen
we'll wrap it
anyway,
up
he
there,
didn't have
yeah.
a very good race, did he? And neither did Red Bull didn't as a whole. Verstappen went out with that engine problem, and really just wasn't really competitive even up to that
I was
point.
gonna say, you
either.
didn't really see him.
Yeah, he was really
was-
surprisingly quiet. And as for Alexander Albon, just a bit of a disaster overall.
Yeah, he's not doing too well.
I do feel sorry for him.
He's a very hot and cold racer. When he's
Mm.
racing at the top of his game, he really can push it. Unfortunately, Lewis has been in his way both times, and just bullied him off the track to take away his podiums. But yeah, no, it's not good for Red Bull.
Let's
No,
talk
it's not
about,
good for Ferrari either.
You were going to segue into it, weren't you?
Yeah. Come on, man. You let me do my segue game.
Right, you do your segues. You want to start again? Should we start again?
Yeah.
Ewan, what were you saying before? The line you said before that, and then we'll just start again.
Red Bull weren't doing very well.
Yes. And Ferrari weren't doing very well either. Let's get into that.
There we go.
A truly
Got there eventually.
truly embarrassing home Grand Prix for the prancing horse.
Yeah, I mean, let's start off with the qualifying before we talk about the race. Because
Yeah.
in qualifying in itself was just appalling.
Vettel down in 17th. I mean, have you ever seen the like? Ferrari, when was the last time they were qualifying out in Q1?
I don't think. Have they ever? I think there was a stat that they'd never qualified out of. A stat that they had always came. No, start again. A stat that it was the first time they'd ever not made it out of Q1. Bloody hell, I butchered that. Jeez, flipping heck! I couldn't have butchered that more if I tried. Flipping heck, but yeah, no. Vettel didn't get out of Q1, and I think that's the first time Vettel hasn't made it out of Q1 in Ferrari.
Wow.
And then Leclerc didn't make it out of Q2.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And then they didn't make it out of the race either. Vettel
No.
was the first one to go. Was he the first retirement of the race? I think. With
I believe so.
With his brakes failing as he went over the first turn.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah,
He
he
had
went,
brake failure.
and yeah, he just ended up going through all the bollards across the chicane. It looked
But
bad.
if you looked at the
Apparently, he came up really quickly though.
I mean, if you looked in the rear, I think it's rear left brake, they literally looked on fire as he was going down the straight while he was trying to put the brakes on. But honestly, luckily he was in that one corner that there was a runoff.
Yeah.
Because could you imagine if there was no runoff and that was just in Azerbaijan?
Yeah.
Imagine him going
yeah,
down
he
there.
he would have gone straight into a wall.
I know that track from the games.
Yeah, so imagine that, and he was going. He's got to be going at least 200 miles an hour
Yeah, it's straight, so it would be.
down that straight. I don't know whether he had DRS open, and he just absolutely annihilated those polystyrene things.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you know, Jacob, but those polystyrene things, there's actually a gap either side, and you're meant to weave between.
Oh,
them.
really?
Not absolutely smash through them. They're not there for being smashed into. They're there for being like.
It shows how safe F1 has become. I've noticed now that like these guys are crashing at insane quick speeds, and there was 2 crashes in the 2 races I've seen. And Leclerc got out in. He went to the medical center, and it took him about 10 minutes to check him up and say it was cool. And this guy has just crashed into a wall at 200 miles an hour in a really flimsy car. Like maybe 10, 15 years ago, like that's deadly. So it's really cool to see like the technology in play. It's really cool.
Yeah, this is why I think the whole people having a go at the whole refueling situation, going, "Oh, we shouldn't do it. It's not safe enough." I do think that if it wasn't safe enough, it wouldn't be coming back. There's got to be some sort of like ridiculous amount of safety because it's stupid. It's not.
When does it come back?
Well, I don't think it's been announced yet, but there's talks of it coming back.
It's that kind of thing that you see with like at theme parks and stuff. Like some people say, "Oh, I don't want to go on this ride because it's too dangerous." But if it was too dangerous, you wouldn't be allowed to go on the ride. It's the same thing in F1. Like,
what is the danger of it? Like catching fire or what?
That's what happened a couple of times when last time refueling was in F1. There's a famous moment when Max Verstappen's dad, when he was a racer, his car caught fire with him in it, and it's really scary to watch. You can look it up on YouTube, and it's really terrifying to watch. But thankfully, he was okay. And I'd imagine if they are planning on bringing it back, then there'll be something in place to stop that from happening.
But yeah, going back to Leclerc's crash, it looked like the car just couldn't handle what was going on. I mean, props to him. He managed to actually get the car back to driving normally. But that was probably one of the main issues with the crash, was the fact that he snapped the steering at the front to get the front wheels to grip, and as they gripped, it just accelerated straight into the wall.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was able to grip those wheels back onto or looking the direction of the track, it would have been a different story. He probably would have been fine. But I mean, at that speed, it's just trying to get the car back into control.
Yeah.
Not worried about where the car's facing, to be brutally honest.
Yeah, well, one person who did absolutely have his car in control, there's another good segue, was...
Oh my god. We need to make a compilation of Sam's segues, because he's on point.
I forget, Segway Sam.
Segway Sam.
His name.
Segway Sam.
It was the man Pierre Gasly.
We've ruined the segue now.
Yes, you have. Pierre Gasly, I feel like it's finally time we get onto him. We've left him out for long enough. The race winner, his first ever F1 victory. And I think it's fair to say that when he was booted out of Red Bull just over a year ago, he certainly didn't expect to have this level of success at their second team, essentially.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal. I mean, I think the last race, he deserved a lot more than the position he came in. And I think this race is really... the last 2 races, he's deserved that win so much.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean... He got done over by was it a safety car last race?
Safety car.
I think it was. If it wasn't for that safety car, he would have finished really high or done really well in there. This race, the safety car came in clutch.
Yeah.
And it helped him. So he is a phenomenal racer in that car.
Like at the end of the day, he got a bit lucky with when the safety car came in, but you got to give him loads of credit for him and the team for they played the situation perfectly.
Well, yeah, the strategy worked. I mean, Formula One is a very you play every second by ear because anything could happen.
Yeah, change.
And that's exactly what they did, and they reacted to it perfectly.
Yeah,
because they could have reacted wrong. They could have the red flag put on a wrong set of tires. The tires had gone really badly, and he slowed down, or he could have his management of the tires when he was in the lead. He could have ruined his tires, which meant Sainz could have overtaken him sooner if he would have overtaken him. So he played it out very, very well.
Yeah, absolutely fair play to him, and fair play to Carlos Sainz as well. He was that close to a first F1 win for him. I think it was 0.4 seconds.
Wow, that was so close. And he had slipstream as well. I thought on the last bend, I really thought it was going to catch him.
Yeah.
But Gasly had his brakes like set up perfectly. Like he timed it really well.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
even with the slipstream, he
McLaren,
just couldn't catch him.
Someone in the McLaren
Crazy.
garage did say before the race that to overtake someone in the slipstream, you need to be going a second and a half faster than them.
Yeah, which is very going a lot faster than.
Wow.
You need to be going a lot faster than the person ahead of you, and he was going fast, but not fast enough.
But not fast enough, no. But he had a fantastic race, and if it wasn't for a safety car, I think we could have potentially seen a McLaren 1-2.
Yeah, and that would have been something.
Because Stroll and Gasly wouldn't have been in that situation.
Yeah.
So it was unlucky for Norris, but Norris, it does seem like Norris can't find that extra bit.
Yeah.
At the end, well, not at the end, because obviously he did really well at the start of the season. But he just does slowly start to back off, and he I think it was 5 seconds or 4.5 seconds at one point he was behind.
In fairness to him, I definitely think that there came to a point where he realised that he wasn't fast enough to catch up to Lance Stroll, and he decided, you know what, I've got to focus on this flipping Mercedes behind me, which is looking pretty dangerous. And
I mean, I have to say, I reckon Norris is one of the best defensive drivers on the grid.
Yeah, Bottas
his defense
get past
is
him.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah,
it is incredible, his defense. To place his car in a perfect position. I mean, big props to him to have the. Well, I mean, it's a Formula One race. Out of 20 people in the world, he's one of them that can race. So he's obviously great at it.
Mm-hmm.
But the thought to slow down before the pits, weave slightly, perfectly, so he doesn't get a penalty.
Yeah.
To make literally a second. If he was there a second earlier, he would have had to stop, and that would have caused a lot more time lost on the pits for that double stack from McLaren.
That was very clever of him. And I was a bit worried at one point that he was going to get penalised for that, but rightly was not given a penalty in the end. So, big success for Lando.
I think one question that people have wanted to know is Lewis Hamilton really that good at racing, or is it just the car? And I do think today he has proof that he himself can race.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean,
he gains 20 seconds on his teammate.
Yeah.
Or something like stupid like that.
Bottas couldn't do a thing, and I think we can all safely say that if it was Hamilton in that situation stuck behind Lando, I think he would have got past him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's no doubts that I personally think Lewis Hamilton is the best racer to have ever lived. I mean, there's loads of different opinions on it because of different cars, different people racing against.
Yeah, you can never easily compare drivers from 50 years ago to drivers from now because you just don't know how they would have compared in the same car. But he's undoubtedly one of the absolute greats. And anybody who says, "Oh, he's always had the best car and he's never had a challenge," that's absolutely wrong. You look at his first ever World Championship, which he won on the last lap of the last race of the season. Not exactly an easy ride for that one. And all those years he spent with Rosberg pushing him to the absolute limit as his teammate.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And just after that, when Ferrari were competitive, Vettel was competing right with him for quite a while.
Oh yeah, because Vettel won several in a row. Was it 3 championships in a row?
4 in a row for Red Bull.
Oh, 4.
And when he was at Ferrari, right after Rosberg left and won his championship and then retired, Vettel was the main challenger, and actually for a while it looked like he was going to be the favourite to win a couple of the championship in 2017 and 2018, but Lewis turned it around, and you just have to give him so much credit for that. Oh
yeah, definitely. And then going from best ever driver to driver of the day.
Yeah.
Who have you guys gone for driver of the day?
I'll throw this over to you, Jacob, first.
I will go first. I was actually going to say it's between Sainz and Gasly. I'm going to say Sainz just because of how much he sort of like kept up with Gasly. It's difficult because I don't watch it a lot, but from what I saw of him, like his start and his performance throughout the race, like consistently, he was really good. So he is going to be my driver of the day. Because yours are most likely going to be different to me. So, Sam, who do you think?
Well, actually, I agreed with you. I was for me it was a game. It was between the top three on the day: Stroll, Sainz, or Gasly, and I I think I am just going to lean towards Carlos Sainz because whereas Gasly, I'm not denying he had an amazing race and what an amazing achievement for him to win his first Grand Prix, but he did have a bit of luck in there with the timing of the safety car and the red flag really helped him out. But Sainz was up there the entire race. He qualified in third and he put himself there and he held onto it for the entire race and ended up finishing second. And if there had been another lap of the race, he probably would have won. So he was very unlucky, and I think he was just so impressive overall. His speed and his consistency throughout the race just takes it for me.
Well, I was going to go for Sainz, but for a bit of change, I'm going to go for Gasly.
Yeah, and it's fair enough.
Otherwise, it's going to be a bit bleak. Nah, I was in between the two. I'm purely going to give it to Gasly. I mean, I know it's driver of the day, but the last two races he's had have been absolutely phenomenal. He got unlucky last race with the safety car. This race is played into his hands perfectly. I mean, how many times have we seen Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes win races purely because of safety cars?
Yeah.
It's part of the game.
It is, and you have to play your cards right when that happens, and he did.
Yeah. I mean, for all we know, they could have been thinking, there's a potential for a safety car to come out.
Yeah.
Because some teams do that.
True.
They wait for safety cars. Yeah. And if that's what was in their strategy, that is an absolutely phenomenal strategy.
Yeah.
And there's only one person that can to smash the strategy, and that is Pierre Gasly. Because if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't have done it. And for his first ever win in Formula One, I'm gonna have to give it to him.
Okay.
As driver of the day, the active podcast driver of the day.
We love to see it. We will send him an award in the post that he'll never know about.
Exactly. I will see.
Active podcast. We're getting him on the show next week. Pierre
yeah. Exclusive interview with Pierre Gasly. That.
Imagine the scenes if we get.
The clickbait! I can already smell the views. It's great. They have all the sponsorships. One football, Squarespace.
Mate. Like the title, potentially Pierre Gasly comes on our show.
Potentially.
Just throw that in there, small print.
Potential Gasly promo. What's it? Potential Gasly.
He's lost it. Oh, I
forgot what the word is now. I've lost it, lads. No.
We'll leave it in the title.
Oh well.
But are we ready to wrap it up, or have we got more?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's a shorter podcast because we did have discussion and said that the last podcast was a way too.
Bit of waffle.
Yeah,
and we can't keep on putting on.
We've got things to do.
But there was a lot to fill last. Yeah, there was a lot of things to fill out. We spoke about pretty much the whole transfer last one. So if you want to go check that out and you haven't already, go and 100%. Check that out.
All right, yeah. Thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate it. We're new to this, so all tips are appreciated.
Cheers for watching, everyone.
Peace.